guys, and welcome to my Gladiator's DPS guide. The elephant in the room is probably that you're asking yourself, why are you doing a Gladiator DPS guide in the first place? They suck, right? Well, they do. I mean, not really. They don't really suck. My point is, if played correctly, they are assuredly viable. I do a lot of pugging because I don't have the time to dedicate myself to a guild, well, until recently, and I do top DPS almost every run. Maybe people that pug are terrible, I don't know, but it's clearly viable. It isn't 2007 anymore. I mean, there isn't just one spec that's the best, and then the other ones, they don't even bother. I mean, the design philosophy for Blizzard currently is that all the specs are supposed to be viable. You know, one spec may do a little bit less DPS, but we're talking about 5–10%. It's close enough so that a good player playing the worst spec out-damages a bad player playing the best spec. And this has been my experiences. I've played with loads of warriors, and to be honest, I've never met a warrior that does more damage than me on my Gladiator. When I was getting into Gladiator originally, I watched some guides, and they helped me a lot to get started, but they didn't really go beyond, you know, your basic rotation and stuff. And there are a couple of things that I've learned that have really helped me to get the most out of my Gladiator. So I figured, you know, make a guide and spread the love. I think that a lot of people would enjoy playing Gladiator if they felt that they were getting the most out of their character. The Gladiator spec is very fast. You never ever have a dead global. You're never, if you play correctly, you're never standing and waiting around for rage. And this is because our core rotation is Shield Slam over Revenge, over Devastate, and then Dump Rage with Heroic Strike. Okay, this is the basics of it. And any guide will tell you this, and actually opening this little tab here will tell you that. Shield Slam over Revenge over Devastate. Devastate, we'll go into it in the talent section, but Devastate reduces the cost of Heroic Strike, which means that you can Heroic Strike like all the time. So because these are rage generators, or it's technically a generator, at least it doesn't cost anything, you always have something to do. We don't have an execute phase, and we don't have any long cooldowns, which means that our sort of damage arc is only a minute, which means that if you're always popping something, it always feels like you're about to enter or you are in a period of increased damage. And I find it just really fun. I think it's a well-designed, fun spec, and if you play it correctly, then nobody can whine about your DPS. I mean, seriously. Yeah, there are also other reasons to play Gladiator. You may be in a guild, you have 2 tanks, they're really good, they show up all the time, super nice, cozy to have 2 tanks, and then one of them can't make it. Well, maybe it would be nice to have a Gladiator in the raid that can just press his protection button and just go in and tank. Would be kind of nice, wouldn't it? I believe it would. Also, Gladiator spec is really good for when you're just getting started. You can get gear by spamming heroics and tanking really easy, and that's basically your Gladiator gear. And we do a lot of we're doing very well on DPS on lower item levels, so it's a good spec to start in. And then, I mean, what with the bonus rolls and everything, you're going to be getting lots of gear for whatever other spec you might want to switch to later. Which is kind of nice. So, as I mentioned earlier, our basic core rotation is Shield Slam, Revenge, Devastate, and then dumping Rage into Heroic Strike. We have abilities, namely Shield Charge and Bloodbath, that increase the damage that we're doing temporarily. Shield Charge costs 20 rage and increases the damage of your Shield Slam, and you want to get 2 shield slams into every period of shield charge, which means that you want to shield slam instantly when you shield charge. So you make a macro. This macro pops Circle Rage, shield charge, shield slam. So instead of when I'm going to shield slam, shield charge, I press one button and then I press another button right after for shield slam, I'm losing time. This is by far a better way to do it. But what if we also have Bloodbath available? Because we want to stack Bloodbath with shield charge and shield slam. Well, you make a macro for that as well. This one pops Berserker Rage, Bloodbath, my trinkets, shield charge and shield slam. This means that whenever a shield slam is available, I just press one button, and the button I press dictates what additional abilities follow with my shield slam. And then finally I have a final macro that's the same as the one before, but it includes my potion as well. So you basically want to do this with heroism, if heroism isn't popped at the start. Because we don't really have an execute phase, you just pop it whenever you have good procs. If your ring procs, you get 10% extra strength, and maybe you get a weapons proc as well. Bloodbath is coming off cooldown, then you want to stack the potion with it. Also, if you can temporarily cleave for a while, or you just use your common sense for when would be good to do this. Just to mention quickly about execute, we do have execute, and execute isn't terrible, but execute does not benefit from shield charge, and it's not worth delaying your shield slam or any other ability for execute. So there's a very, very narrow scenario when if your shield slam is about to come off cooldown, which means that devastating into that global, if you would proc an instant a refresh of your cooldown of the shield slam using your revenge, then the proc would be wasted. In that little gap, it would be worth executing. But if you fuck it up, then you're losing DPS, and it isn't a good DPS gain. I decided a long time ago that, look, it's gone. I'm not even gonna use it. Fuck execute. It's useless as Gladiator. Some people would miss it, but hey, then just play arms. You do shit DPS and then you can execute, and then suddenly you're E-hero. If that's for you, then that's cool. So yeah, this pretty much covers our rotation. If you manage to just use macros to simplify, stacking all the abilities together, then it's just a game of making sure that you overlap your increased damage with the abilities that do the most damage. Bloodbath has the same cooldown. Dragon's Roar has the same cooldown as Bloodbath, so Bloodbath is followed by Dragon's Roar all the time. I can give you a little example of TPS. So yeah, Strength of Steel going. I'm spamming Heroic Strike because I have so much rage. And now you see, I have 3, 4 stacks, 5 stacks, 6 stacks. Now it stops going up, but I have a period of doing really good damage. And you can notice I have 67, 46, 54, look. I was able to Heroic Strike all the way until I had 3 stacks again, because I got some lucky procs and stuff. And I don't know, I'm just spamming the fuck out of this training dummy. I love it. There is, oops, messed up there. The greatest pitfall of doing Gladiator DPS is having shield charge ready and shield slam coming off cooldown and having less than 20 rage. This means that you will need to shield slam without the buff. And if you use a macro like I do, you will shield slam and then shield charge right after once you have the rage. So you don't want to do that. But it's really a muscle memory spec. For me, I love it. But this is really all you need to know to do good DPS. I think I'll go on to talents, etc. The talents, we don't really have a lot of choices. Double time, it's just so good to be able to charge twice. You can charge out and back. This is the way to go. Enraged regeneration is excellent. It allows you to choose when you need healing. Second wind isn't good. It's bad. It's just terrible. You can use it if you're super lazy and you know you're not going to use any heals. Then sure, use it. It's better than nothing. Impending victory, it does worse damage than your other stuff, and it heals comparative to enraged regeneration. And it's using a global for something you could like, look here. I'm gonna put Devastate up. If I do 3 things, Shield Slam, Revenge, Dragon's Roar, look, I drop my stack. This means that if you start juggling Impending Victory into your rotation, what's going to happen is that you're going to fuck up, or get a proc, and then drop your stacks, which makes it so that you heroic strike less, and it's just a cascade of it's just a fuckfest, shitfest. Sorry. Unyielding strikes is just the way to go. This is an execute proc. You don't execute. Heavy replications is nice if you're just lazy. You just don't like heroic striking. Then sure, you can do this. It just increases the benefit of shield charge, but it's unyielding strikes is better. Stormbolt scales off your weapon, so for a one-handed spec is bad. Shockwave and Dragon's Roar, I mean, you can take Shockwave and nobody's gonna call you a noob, but Dragon's Roar will do more damage. That's just the way it is. It scales off your attack power, and we have bucket loads of attack power because we get attack power both from bonus armor and strength. So we have Dragon's Roar does really good damage for us gladiators. I always use Vigilance because it just feels like Vigilance is... it just feels impactful. 12 seconds of 30% damage reduction. That's a really, really strong cooldown. Safeguard is also nice if you're actually intervening a lot, but it's a DPS loss, and we don't like DPS losses, do we? Mass Spell Reflection is cool, like on Trash or on 5-man, but it's really not a rating thing, I don't think. Avatar is complete shit. It's some PvPers use it sometimes because of the removing all roots and snares, etc. But Bloodbath is the way to go. There's no fight in High Maul where Bladestorm is better. Well, on Tactus you'll do more DPS with Bladestorm, but you'll be worse. Like, you'll be contributing less to the kill. If you're doing Imperator, then and you're missing AoE DPS in the raid for the last phase, then sure, you can spec Bladestorm. But the thing is, you do really, like, Bloodbath is a really, really good ability, and it helps you get all the adds down quickly. It helps you get the Bubba that he spawns down quickly. It's just, we're not really an AoE spec, okay? We do really good single target DPS. Our AoE DPS is rather shit, and our cleave is decent with the heroic strike glyph. And then obviously you're taking Gladiator Resolve. There's really no other way. Glyphs. This is my current glyph setup. Glyph of Unending Rage is a must. You have to use it. Glyph of Bull Rush is very good. Increases your rage at the start. At the start you'll probably have Heroism, all your procs, your potion, etc. Which means that this rage really helps you a lot. And then you have Glyph of Cleave, which allows your heroic strike to cleave and hit 2 targets. If you're doing Ore Gorger, for example, you will want to switch Cleave out for Rude Interruption, it means that when you interrupt, you get a damage increase, and you're able to keep this up quite a lot. If you're doing Bracken Spore, then you want to swap out Bull Rush for Root Interruption. That way you can interrupt the ad but still cleave. But aside from that, this is really it. I don't really like taking cleave out because then I forget to put it back in, and then I suck on trash. But anyway, oh, one tip to you guys. I'm gonna swap out Root Interruption for this thing. Wait. Oh, I'm in combat. Whatever. When you change your glyphs, Gladiator spec disappears, and you have to like go back into Gladiator spec stance. I've had that happen so many times that yeah, I'll show you. Root Interruption, swap out for cleave. Look, pull comes, and you're like, ah, fuck. You know, it's happened to me a lot, and it's a big DPS loss. So don't do that. There are some other glyphs that I should mention. Death from Above is kind of a try-hard ability. I mean, if you wanna try and work this into your rotation, that's like, go for it, and good luck. It can be good for like Gruul to go back out and in a lot. That's nice. Sometimes I use this instead of the Bull Rush. This is the increases the damage of the Thunderclap, but it also increases the cooldown of it. This is kind of nice sometimes on trash or like on big fights with lots of mobs, but I don't know. I usually just stick to this so that I don't mess it up. So yeah, that pretty much covers it. Some tips at the end. When you're doing when you're on trash, you're doing AoE, then Dragon's Roar just does incredible damage. Just make sure that you have your Bloodbath and your Dragon's Roar together. The Thunderclap applies your dot to all targets, so it's definitely worth keeping your dot up on everything. Your dot is also placed by using Devastate. So when you're when you're fighting more than one dude, you wanna swap around. If you're not fighting enough guys so that it's worth it to actually spread your dot using Thunderclap, then you want to use Devastate to spread your dot. So on to the stats priority. You may notice that I'm doing this a little bit backwards from the way guides are normally done, but I'm just assuming that you guys have already been to Icy Veins. I mean, you probably already know that priority. If you haven't checked out Icy Veins, you press pause, go there, make a bookmark. You know, it has all the information you need. But I really like to go to YouTube afterwards and hear somebody who knows what he's doing, sort of, you know, give the little extra details that make it easier for me to get used to the spec. So stats priority for us is obviously strength first. Bonus armor is equal to strength, so any item with bonus armor is incredibly good for you. The slots that are able to have bonus armor are the neck, the cloak, and the rings and the trinkets. So all of these should preferably have bonus armor on them. It's just incredibly good. Aside from strength and bonus armor, the stat you're going for is crit. The stat you're avoiding is mastery. Blizzard is, I mean, ever since they put rogue spirit gear on rogues, they've been struggling with giving us the stats we want. And now that you don't have, obviously, Reforged or anything, you're kind of stuck with what drops. And to be honest, a lot of shit stuff drops. So you can't really be picky. But if an item has crit or bonus armor, then use it. If you have a choice between two items, one of them has mastery, then try and avoid it. Versatility is kind of actually shit as well. So I'd say haste, multi-strike are kind of equal. You want to have enough haste for your shield slam to fit inside the shield charge. Like for me, my shield slam cooldown is 5.64 seconds, which means that I have a second and a half to twiddle my thumbs, and I still managed to get 2 of them inside the shield charge. Crit being your best secondary stat, that's what you're gemming and enchanting. We have some defensive abilities that I haven't really mentioned, because they're not really specifically Gladiator. You really want to use Demoralizing Shout whenever there is a predictable incoming damage from the boss, like on Gruul. Excuse me, my nose is completely stuffed. Like on Gruul, when he's about to do his slash thing, whatever it's called, you want to pop that. Also on Butcher, etc. I mean, it's just a really good ability. You use your self-heal often. If you look at your hit points and you see, oh, dude, I'm in 22% health, then pop your self-heal. And look, woo, out of the red zone. Felt pretty good. This is gonna make your healers pretty happy, if they even notice. Shield wall, super good. Vigilance macro for you guys. Vigilance, target equals target to target. This means that if you're targeting the boss, you're gonna give vigilance to whoever the boss is targeting. And for I mean, it's such a good cooldown. I mean, I just love it. 30%. I mean, this is almost you're almost popping a shield wall for the tanks. It's pretty good. When you aren't able to melee, then don't ask me why Alt D is my choice, but it is. I like the keybind. Gladiators don't have any cooldown on our heroic throw, so we can just spam it. So like when the mobs, when the boss, the Imperator, goes up into the air, you can spam this for a little bit. If you're using the PvP gear and you have the extra crit after your charge, then don't go all the way in when he goes up. You just stay there shooting, and then when he comes down, bam, with extra crit. The same goes for Butcher. When he throws you away, you can charge in and get a proc on that extra crit. He then charges back, then you can charge into him and get another. So that's on average, that's 1 crit, extra crit per kill, which is actually quite relevant. That you just follow him back in. So little stuff like this you should just be aware of. I didn't mention that I have this glyph, but I'm pretty sure you all have this glyph. This makes it so that your intimidating shout doesn't make them flee in panic, which makes intimidating shout actually useful, which is pretty nice. Yeah, so I hope this guide helps you. I hope maybe we can work together and make Gladiator a spec among specs. But anyway, yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and bye bye.